Welcome back to the channel, guys. Appreciate you all joining me, and today we have the Subaru here. When don't we have the Subaru, guys? As you all know, this is a 2013 STI, 10 years old, and just recently I've been starting to spend some big dollars on this thing, especially the motor. The stock TGVs went out. The stock downpipe somehow got clogged. On top of that, we ended up swapping out the timing belt, water pump, and since he had to pop out the radiator, I bought a new CSF radiator. It's pretty much the stock looking one. You don't want to go anything too crazy. Got some new upper and lower hoses in here, guys. So we've been throwing in a very shiny dollar bill, guys. This is 10 years old, man. This is insane. But car is pretty much stock apart from, well, downpipe. They threw in a turbo blanket cob, and then I also got a Grimspeed up pipe on this thing. That and my access port is all I have with this car, guys. This is what I've been rocking with the past few months. Starting with one of the things that's been bugging me a lot is my fender liner. Fender liner has been broken down in pieces. It's not even holding my bumper anymore. It's old. It's pretty much brittle now, and it's just cracking and snapping in pieces. So it's ready to go. Nice and clean. All right, here's where we are at. Just took off the wheel. I took off this little fender piece to get access to the mud flap bracket. Here's the mud flap itself. So old, guys. And here is the fender liner that I've been talking about. This is 10 years old. Hasn't been swapped. Nothing at all. You can see why it's time to swap out, because it doesn't hold anything anymore. Sheer willpower is holding up this bumper. It's literally just these little pull clips. You just gotta pull them apart. There's some back there, and then you could just yank this sucker out and we'll put on the new one. Here it is, guys. Just ripped off the fender liner, and it's exposed the silencer to the intake. Let's see what else we got in there. We got there's a fog light plug. There's a ground here. I have no idea where that's supposed to go to, but look at this. We got some bunch of trees in here, so we're gonna go ahead and clean that out. Also got a chance to remove some of the old wrap that's been stuck there. It's been plaguing my car for God knows how long. But maybe we can just yank this off here. What color? Oh, this is the first wrap. The bumper. This too. Oh, here's the other piece we're gonna remove, guys. Maybe I don't have to remove the bumper, but there we go. This sucker over here is broken. So we'll go ahead and swap that out. It's only bolt there, bolt in there, and one up on the top. So 3 total. Alright, guys, fender liner has been reinstalled. All clips have been put in. We put in some new clips. Got this thing over here off of Amazon. It's got all different sizes in here, so we've been mixing and matching a few of them here, replacing some old ones, put in some old ones too, but other than that, we are good to go, guys. I'm just missing that tiny little one up there. That's like a special screw one in there. Mud flaps put in, brackets put in, secured, fender piece back on, rocker panel, Saska, whatever you want to call it, back on, and it's secured to the bumper. Bumper is not coming off anytime soon. That's what I like. Today we are replacing spark plugs on our EJ25 here. Just a little reference. This one doesn't work. It's completely trashed. I actually got this from the tuning shop. They're about to throw it away, but I took it home because I wanted to just learn a little bit about it. But anywho, here are the spark plugs. You can see one in there. I just popped one out. This is an old one, obviously. Anyways, here's the parts, guys. We got some NGK spark plugs. They're essentially the stock replacements. We also have an AEM high flow intake fuel pump, and then we also have an IAG air oil separator, guys. All this stuff eventually is going on the car. Now my plans for the car is to get it pro tuned hopefully next month, and I spoke to the tuner. They basically said if I want to get my money's worth, I should upgrade the fuel system. That means bigger injectors, replace the fuel pressure regulator, and obviously get a high flow fuel pump. So we're doing it. We might as well. I know injectors are a pain in the tail because of just, well, I mean, come on, guys. I don't need to say much. but air oil separator is a bit of out of my league, but we're gonna attempt it, guys. We're gonna attempt it. But first things first, let's go ahead and start with the spark plugs. Alright boys, as you guys can see, we popped out that battery. No more AAA sitting in there. We of course started off with the negative terminal, and then we went to the positive terminal. Just a little good tip to remind yourself, boys. Start with the negative when removing a battery, but when you're adding a battery, do the positive next. But of course, when you're doing spark plugs, guys, you got to pop off the air pump. It's got to go. The air pump cover, as you guys can see, is 2 bolts and 1 clip. Pretty easy. Then you expose the air pump itself, and that, if I recall correctly, is 3 or 4 bolts. I'm pointing to one back there. It's kind of tucked away. But there are 3 or 4 bolts that you have to remove, and then there's also 1 plug that you guys can see dangling right there. Once you have all that removed, as you guys can see, that boy gets nice and loose. Plug has been unplugged, and the only thing left is to get some pliers and to remove that little pressure clip that's connecting the air pump to that hose. And you should be able to remove the air pump nice and easy. So as I said, this ain't a how-to, guys. This is kind of just like a little, I guess, a walkthrough reference. But anywho, we did have to end up removing that little air duct thing connected to the air pump. It's like a 10 or a 12 millimeter bolt in the way. Pop that up, and then you get access to the coil packs that are right there. I mean, it's still a pretty tight fit next to the metal frame, but with a little playing around and adjusting, you're able to pop them out, and with the help of like the swivel joints and the extensions, you should be able to get the spark plugs. Bit of a hassle, but still doable. Well, guys, as you guys can tell, it's nighttime. But obviously, I took a break during the middle of the day, guys. I had to go and do some errands, but we're back on it. I already completed. I am on the last cylinder, boys. Right down there. That back one was a pain in the tail. Flashlight in here. Had to remove the intake. Batteries removed. We put this back in. This was a pain in the butt, but I'm glad I did it. I feel a little more confident. I'm on literally the last spark plug, and it's the easiest. So let me just show you the different tools that I used here. Here are the old ones. The old spark plugs. Looks like it was definitely time to change them. And this one, for some reason, very wet and oily. You guys can see that? I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like wet at the bottom. Not sure if that's normal or not. Looks like they all have a little bit of moisture residue. Probably not a good thing. But anyways, we did pop off the intake. But we removed the milk jug, guys. The silencer. Don't need this anymore. All it does is just, well, it's just a silencer. So that's out of here. I'm going to put this back up. Now, ideally, don't want to plug this bit in. You just have to remind yourself whenever you're driving through a flooded area that there is a giant hole here. So, well, I'm going to say this job took me about 2 to 3 hours. I'm going to be real, probably closer to 3. I mean, look at this. This is pretty much the tools you're going to need, guys. You need a bunch of these swivels, different size extensions, definitely a lot of 10 millimeters, definitely a lot of 12 millimeters, and then a couple of pliers. We used a few pliers here. I replaced my battery tie down over here. You guys can see it's starting to rust, and might paint that red now that we got a spare one. But we threw on the new one. Everything's back on. Battery's been put back. Air pump has been put back. Intake has been put back. Deleted the silencer, the little milk jug down there. Let's go ahead and test it out. I'm a little nervous. Yeah, we did it, boys. Spark plug change. Look at these bad boys, man. Moisture at the bottom for some bloody reason. If anybody could chime in and say what's going on with this. That is all the time we had for today, guys. Spark plugs kicked my ass, actually. But it's a good learning process. Next up, we are going to install the AEM. I'm going to go ahead and clean up all this stuff, guys. Appreciate you all watching to this point. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit about spark plug change. Not too bad. It's not. I'd put it on a like a 3.5 out of 5 difficulty. A little more time consuming, and it's just more fiddling around. So yeah, other than that, definitely doable, guys. Make sure to subscribe for the next and upcoming mods. Air oil separator, high flow in tank fuel pump. injectors.